Hello everyone, Jason from Yakface.com and the Realm Recap here. Today I wanted to give our YouTube subscribers an advanced look at how in the future we're going to be recalculating how we determine the point of articulation count for figures that are released. People have asked, why are you doing this, or what's the purpose? I have the opinion that for, I think, however long that we've been calculating figure POA, we've been doing it wrong. For the longest time, we consider, there's, like the vintage figures, those were 5 POA, where they have a neck joint, shoulder joints, and hip joints. Typically those are all swivel joints. One point of articulation. They only did one thing. Figures like some of the more modern figures that have ball joints, as we call them, those figures, the ball joint itself is actually a 2 point of articulation joint, where it does more than just any one thing. It doesn't just swivel, or it doesn't just pivot. It does 2. So, like, for instance, let's say you take Bastillashan here, which is, I think we would have in the past considered that to be a 14 POA figure, because it has two shoulder joints, 2 elbow joints, 2 knee joints, 2 ankle joints, 2 hip joints, 2 wrists, and a swivel waist and a swivel neck. Add all those up, you get 14. I'm suggesting that this figure is actually almost double that, because those ball joints can do more than one thing. So Bastillashan, for instance, would have 1 neck joint, 2 joints in the shoulder, 2 in each shoulder, 2 in each elbow, and so on. So if you tally her up, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And if people don't quite grasp how I come to that, each ball joint is 2, obviously. What kind of prompted this whole thing was when the new Luke figure came out, the Bespin, or the Dagobah Luke. It had those, obviously these wonky double jointed elbows. Obviously there are 2 joints there. There's a pin here and a pin there. That to me says it's 2 joints. And so I was trying to recalculate how many POA this figure actually had, and I get 28 with a figure like this. Because if you're going to count the distinction that these 2 joints are unique because it could bend in more than one area, you would have to do the same thing for, let's say, a wrist, where it does more than just swivel at that point. You could actually bend the wrist, in different angles. Same thing for the knees, his ankles. Obviously, he has ball jointed hips. They do more than just like kick forward. He could also splay his leg out to the side. So that's another point of articulation in that area. And that's how I'm going to be reclassifying POA. When we do our toy guide updates, generally a figure has 14 areas of articulation, but any one area could contain multiple joints. So, like Luke, he has 1 for the neck, 1 for the waist, 2 in each hip, 2 in each knee, 2 in each ankle, 2 in each wrist, 2 in each elbow, a bicep, and then 2 in each shoulder. And that's how I came up with the 28. People might think this is kind of going overboard, but I think it's important when doing a toy guide like ours, or something like, how Jedi Temple Archives or any of the other, archiving websites out there do theirs. I think it's important to represent the figure accurately. Because obviously, a figure might have 14 points of articulation, but that's not necessarily accurate, because some figures don't have ankles, but they have, let's say, better wrist joints or better elbow joints or whatnot. So I think the whole purpose is just to give as much detail as possible for each character without shortchanging it either. I know Paul over at Jedi Temple Archives, he and I have been discussing this back and forth, and he thinks it's kind of the right way to go too, instead of just being general with the articulation, to be more specific. So like I said, in the next toy guide update, you see we will be using this new method going forward, and I don't plan on going back and revising all previous toy guide entries that I've ever done, just because that would be insane going back to adjust all of those. But like I said, going forward, we will be using this new way to calculate articulation. We'll talk about this, I think, a little bit on the next Realm Recap with Fly Guy. That's going to come out here in a couple days. So until then, we will talk to you soon, and thanks for watching.